We're down here in Turkey, Texas. We got tons of people. We got David Waddle and his gang playing music. Hey, I'd like to, so can you tell what you did to the camera?
Oh, yeah. Okay, are you running?
Yep.
All right. In the summer of 1998, I had a deep longing. I call it, I knew that I needed to learn to yodel. Now, I was already doing Western music. I'm a singer and songwriter and rhythm guitarist in the Western swing style. But I didn't know how to yodel. So I started trying it. It sounded terrible, so I had to practice in my vehicle, in my car on the freeway when nobody was around, because you don't want to torture your family members. And I'd yodel out in the backyard and all the birds would leave. Anyway, I finally got to where I could yodel one song, and I Want to Be a Cowboy Sweetheart. And I liked I didn't particularly copy the Patsy Montana yodel, but I sort of did more like what Lynn Anderson and Susie Boggess would do. Anyway, so I've been doing that about a year. I finally got a way to put it on stage that was pretty decent. But then I knew the next year, in the summer of 1999, that I needed to be at the Gene Autry Festival in September, because that was the Gene Autry birthday weekend, and this special event at the museum it's just near Ardmore, Oklahoma. And the special event was the Riders in the Sky, where they were coming to do a concert. So I thought, I've got to be there. There's no way I'm not going to be there. So I bought expensive tickets for 5 different people, because my band had a gig that day in Dallas, and we had to immediately run straight up the freeway I-35 to get to the museum. And we got there in the mid-afternoon, and another thing we wanted to do was start a big jam session. So we were kind of like this. We were all jamming on the back porch of the Gene Autry Museum when the Riders in the Sky come driving up, okay? And they park right beside the jam session. And they get out, and they're wearing shorts and ball caps. You could hardly recognize them, because we're used to them being in their fancy Western clothes. And I'm dressed in fancy Western clothes, and I am in the middle of my only song I know how to yodel. I Want to Be a Cowboy Sweetheart. I have just won an award, too, at the Patsy Montana yodeling contest a few months before for yodeling that song. They heard me, okay? I didn't know they were looking for the perfect voice for Jessie, and they needed a very special kind of sound. And the person had to yodel, and she had to have a kind of a sweet, childlike voice and a little joie de vivre in the way that, I delivered
Jessie
the song.
from Toy Story.
Yeah, yes, from Toy Story 2. The movie was fixing to come out. The movie had not come out, but they were contracted by Pixar Disney to do the follow-up CD. Now, that's not the soundtrack. The follow-up CD is what comes out later after the movie, and they do have a few songs that were on the soundtrack. The Riders in the Sky actually sang Woody's Roundup for the soundtrack. They're in the movie, but they needed to have Woody sing, and Buzz was sing, and the Prospector had a song, and Jessie had 2 songs. They could not find the perfect voice for Jessie, and they had all the other recordings done. They had all the tracks done for Jessie, but they couldn't plug in the voice. They could not find the right woman, and I was sitting right there at that jam session yodeling. God put me in the right place at the right time. Prepare, and there's a lesson in that. Trust the Lord, and He'll direct your path. Anyway, the rest is history. They didn't know my name. They didn't know where I lived. So they were busy, and I was busy. And we all went home that night after the concert. It took them 3 weeks to find me. So when they finally called my house to say, "We think you're the singing voice of Jessie," and I said, "Who's Jessie?" Well, the movie hadn't come out yet. It was going to come out at Christmas. So by the time they found me, it was October and almost November. So I learned the 3 songs really fast. The movie came out. I went and saw the movie I learned the 2 songs really fast. I went and saw the movie 3 times, and I thought, I can so do this character. Only God knows these things, So anyway, and then one little extra thing I want to tell you is that when I got we decided I'd go to Nashville just right there in early December because the movie came out for Thanksgiving, and so like a week or so later we went to do the recordings of the 2 songs. Well, I had a head cold. I had a horrible head cold. And I should not have been recording, but I was afraid. I didn't know they were committed to me. I thought that there might be 50 other girls who would step in if I had a head cold, and the next person would be the one to do it. So I went, and I didn't tell them I had a head cold. So I got there, I apologized, and worked as hard as I can. It took me 8 hours to do 2 songs. I was really humiliated, but they were so nice. They were very cheerful, and they brought pizza, and they kept encouraging me, and they did have me on their album. It won a Grammy Award the next year, in 2001, Best Musical Album for Children.
That's nice.
Yeah, hi, giddy up.
Nice.
Movie over.
Yeah.
Thank you, Art.
Oh, there's Jessie, or kind of, but yeah, definitely, really cool. We're down here, Turkey, Texas, Bob Wills Festival, cooking, doing stuff. There's my shadow. I got my hat on, and I think another neat thing is, while we were coming down here, I found this. Yeah, Prime. And we live in a place where Prime doesn't. There's literally barely any other drinks besides water, cola, and Pepsi. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but yeah. In here in Turkey, Texas, cooking, having a fun time. And there goes plate. I'll pick that up. Yep. And yep. Oh. Yeah, look. We got Jessie from Toy Story. It's pretty damn cool. We got Jessie from Toy Story. We got Prime. Okay. Well, as people would say that drink Prime, it's prime time. Goodbye.